Welcome to GWOW Climate Change and Cultures Project Overview. So the mission is as a citizen scientist to investigate climate change impacts on cultural lifeways. And the question is, what place-based evidence and traditional ecological knowledge integrate to show Ojibwe lifeways are impacted by climate change? So it uses Native perspectives, organizations, and communities that come together to address issues of climate change and provide learners with the knowledge and skills for what they could do to adapt to or mitigate climate change. So this model is adaptable to all cultures by identifying something a culture cares about, such as wild rice harvesting, and discerning the impact of climate change from there. I chose Odana, Wisconsin as the expedition location because the Ojibwe ceded territory and area very close to my home, and a lot of the organizations that work together to create this curriculum are based in Odana, Wisconsin, which is on the Bad River Indian Reservation in northern Wisconsin. So the ceded territory of the Ojibwe is basically just the areas that the Ojibwe people are allowed to use for hunting and fishing and those cultural lifeway activities that are very important to them. And basically, this curriculum, Guiding for Tomorrow, or GWOW initiative, is basically an approach to increase awareness on how climate change is affecting those lifeways of the Lake Superior coastal environment people, cultures, and economies. So what is so amazing about this curriculum is that it integrates scientific climate research with place-based evidence of how climate change is affecting their lifeways. And basically it brings in Native perspectives and involvement, and it provides learners this knowledge about what they can do to mitigate or adapt. So it goes off key message points such as climate change is real, humans contribute, weather and climate are different, climate affects culture, and that we can make a difference. So as a project introduction, I basically run people through the fact that not all of these tidbits and potential presentations are complete on the project. However, many of them are. I did have a huge file loss, and so I was unable to complete some of the videos of the Professional Development Institute I attended. However, many of them have been professionally recorded, and hopefully, potentially, I'm going to be helping make this course an actual online course. Also, I want to point out that some of the collaborative interactions between the experts that I want to happen when this course actually goes live as an online course would happen through potentially things like WebEx or some other interactive thing where they can, the students can experience a sense of adventure on a synchronistic live platform where they can interact with the experts and also collaborate with their peers. So I'm not going to read through all of this, nor am I going to show all of the videos or things that I've put on here, but I would encourage everybody to take the time, whether it's after this course or next week when things settle down a little bit with making your own presentations. But please take a look because a lot of this is very relevant and very real to what is happening in our lives. And it also might be some perspectives and might provide some perspectives and some tools that are effective for helping you teach your students about climate change. So one cool thing at the beginning of this project, I included the GWOW website, which is a work in progress. One of the developers of GWOW, Kathy Techman, has been working on this website and trying to make it comprehensive. I have since introduced her to the WeExplore environment, and hopefully we're going to be working together on figuring out how to use all of the different elements of adventure learning to create this course as an online course to make it more accessible to many people beyond what it can reach right now. So the first video I include is a student's guide to global climate change provided by the EPA. And basically, this is just a 2-minute video on climate change, basically showing what climate change is. And excuse my slow internet and slow computer, please. When starting the Professional Development Institute that is live, there is a water ceremony held by a 5th degree Midday woman, Sue. And I think somehow this could be incorporated as part of the adventure on this online course. Of course, it would be up to Sue and how she wanted to do this. But right now I've just included a picture of her conducting a live water ceremony. There will be a presentation by Mike Wiggins, who is the Bad River Chair. And in this presentation, as you can see right here, there is a drawing of Lake Superior. And if you can look at it more objectively, subjectively, you can see that it is a picture of Lake Superior, but also you can see the eagle's head as well as the talons and the nest. And basically, as Mike Wiggins in his presentation would point out, that we are all connected and that the Great Thunderbird area of the Great Lakes region has many things in the ground, such as iron ore, things like that, that are meant to be left in there, and that if they're removed, they do affect the climate. He also points out that there are a lot of things that are impacting the entire area, even when some people think they're just impacting a small area. So he points out several different things that happen in our area and that he is personally and as a community they are trying to keep out, such as mining interests and CAFOs, or concentrated feeding operations, which are actually have the potential to further impact the climate and environment in our area. The GWOW welcome video that I've included on here is a short presentation on the basics of how the GWOW curriculum works. Kathy Techman does this presentation, and she shows that if there is something that people care about and there is an impact from the climate change, how it affects basically the cultural practice that is normally conducted. And so one of the cool things that she shows is walking through that the GWOW curriculum is not just relevant to Ojibwe, but it is also relevant to many other cultures, and anybody who cares about anything can make this curriculum relevant to them. So I encourage you to take a look at this video and understand where they are coming from in creating this curriculum, which is a combination of place-based evidence and scientific research to help people create a sense of understanding and better learn about how climate change is actually impacting people. Because the research has shown that if the evidence is not relative to the learner, it is harder for them to understand and be able to teach about the issue. So continuing with some of the content, there's a storytelling element from a Park Service ranger who is rich in traditional ecological Ojibwe knowledge. There's also a recommended reading, a Mishomis book, which walks people through the Anishinaabe people or Ojibwe people, the history and the cultural and traditions. Unfortunately, the video from the Wisconsin Initiative on Climate Change is poor. The quality is poor, but the story or the basics of the science is still there, and there are better quality videos in the works of being processed. So those will hopefully be available if and when this does become an online course. The Wheels of Time and Place is a lesson by Janet Moore, and it walks through phenology wheels. And basically, she is an amazing artist, and teacher and walks people through a presentation on a phenology lesson, which phenology, as many people know, is changing seasons, but this can be adapted. Excuse me, my slow internet. This can be adapted to basically work with many different ideas and games or projects or assignments. And there is a big lesson plan and way to incorporate it into the curriculum available on here. And then also additional resources and an example, beautiful phonology wheel that Janet actually drew herself. So instead of waiting for the internet to let me get on there, I will have to have you guys just explore these resources on your own. So a day of Ojibwe culture and language, as well as explorations, begins by Dylan Jennings, who's an Ojibwe culture and language educator. He would do a presentation, and then there would be a couple other presentations, such as from a biologist, Peter David, from also Great Lakes Indian Fish and Wildlife Commission, also who would teach about the difference in how wild rice is affected and impacted from climate change. Then, because wild rice is one of the culturally significant things that the Ojibwe people care about and is being affected by climate change, further investigation into how it is being affected by climate change and some of the areas that are being affected by climate change and impacted by climate change can be explored and inquired about. So this exploration takes you through some facts on one of the largest sloughs in the U.S., which is on the Bad River Indian Reservation, and then also a video created by Earth Partnership for Schools, which walks you through the basics of wild rice and its importance. A Bad River Youth video on why protecting the wild rice is important, and then a video I created on an adventure on visiting the Kikagan Slough and spending time just being in the place. Even though this is a virtual adventure, it can still be very powerful. Seeing the beauty and understanding that very subtle changes can impact and threaten this Ojibwe Lifeway place. So, another exploration and adventure is exploring the national park impacts from climate change. So, unfortunately, due to a loss of data, this presentation is not available, but can be in future. So I just have a little clip here of a photo of some of the changes the national parks can see happening in the near future and are already seeing. One of the adventures I had created a video for, unfortunately, again, it was lost, would be the Stockton Island adventure, where students, as citizen scientists, can explore Stockton Island by taking a boat virtually to the island and studying and exploring and noticing what changes may or may not be taking place on the island due to climate change. With presentations from National Park Service staff, they can start to understand how Apostle Island National Park, or National Lakeshore rather, is being impacted as well. And as many people do not know, Apostle Islands National Lakeshore includes Madeline Island, which is the center of the Ojibwe world or ceded territory, and was the first place they considered the center of their territory once they made the Great Migration. More of this can be read about and learned about in the book that I referenced earlier. So climate change and forests is another segment of this curriculum, and this basically just walks through the Northern Institute of Applied Climate Science presentation that, of course, is also missing, but could be placed right here by Stephen Handler, and there are many other resources he has made available online, and is working with the Bad River Indian Reservation on their tribal forest sites. Additionally, another activity and adventure is a forestry activity and lesson by Forester Eric Oliphant, and he is basically a tribal forester with the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and he is working to help adapt these forests on the Bad River Indian Reservation to be ready and be more able to adjust to climate change impacts. And so this activity and lesson is very exciting and can be very interactive as well, and also provide additional insight into how the forests are being managed in a way to mitigate, or to adapt to climate change. The Chicago Botanic Garden also has provided many tools and resources as a partner of this curriculum, and Jennifer Schwartz is one of the people who is in charge of that educational partnership, and she provided many different resources for the GWOW curriculum, including Project Budburst, migration stories, climate change posters, things like that, that the educators and community members participating in this online course can use for themselves, and then also can bring into their classrooms and communities to help others learn more about climate change and become more active. At the end, I have included climate change links and resources to help assist bring the curriculum to the classroom, and to help those who are participating in the course in creating their service learning project. Now they've done all the investigation. Now how can they put their knowledge to work within their communities and create this service learning project? There's also a place toward the end that considers that helps them investigate the service learning project assignment, and then that helps them share the project learning circle, in a talking circle. So they can share their service learning project in a talking circle on the website that is provided by GWOW. So, as I said, for the purposes of this course, this class, I should say, this project is not conclusive. It is still a work in progress, but I'm really excited to have such a great start on it, and I'm really excited to help those who are trying to create an online course for this, which just came up as I was discussing this, discussing my class with the people running the Professional Development Institute, which I have already mentioned I am evaluating for my thesis. And so now I've got a great start on investigating the content for myself, for my community, for my future students, and then also to help create this online course. Hopefully we can make this more accessible. So I wanted to just revisit that the issue, the authentic narratives, the element of adventure, the curriculum-guided inquiry, the collaboration and interaction, the synced learning through WebEx, and additional resources beyond WeExplore, and the online venue, multiple media, and a scaffolding for teachers as well as learners are all present here. And so beyond the teachers participating in this course, they can also take this WeExplore framework project and actually use it in their classroom as well. Because if the presentations are on here, they can reuse those presentations that they've already become familiar with, and they can also hopefully have engaging conversations with the experts who will hopefully continue to be available as we develop this course. So thank you for listening, and I hope you all look forward to learning about the project I've created and I look forward to all of your feedback. Thanks.